Welcome to All Things Financial with Jack Driscoll. Each week, Jack takes on all things you thought were hard to understand about your finances and makes it fun, easy, but most of all interesting. From insurance to the best way to save your money and squeeze the most out of the dollars you put aside for your rainy day. And now, you have a friend in the money business. Here's your host, Jack Driscoll.
Welcome back again, everyone, to another edition of All Things Financial. What I wanted to talk to you about today, it's the beginning of a new year, and last week I went over a couple things with you on thoughts for looking at your life, relooking at your life, planning out your future life as you'd like it to be, and evaluating where you think it might be without that type of planning and what you need to do to change it. So I hope I gave you some ideas there, helpful hints. And today I'll tell you what I want to talk about is building and assembling a qualified team of financial and legal professionals. I think it boils down to this. What we in life pretty much try to do, in many cases, is try to do everything ourselves. I go to the computer right over here and I try to do everything myself. You go to your computers, you look up everything that you want and you think you're able to do everything yourself because you are. We're able to do so many more things now than we were able to do even 10 years ago. The problem is when we try to do everything ourselves, is it being done as well as it could be? And that's where I think most people are failing financially. I think the more that things have come on to shopping for your own insurance, shopping for your own savings types of programs, wherever you go, these different issues are now creating problems that were being avoided before because you had to go through someone else to do them. So here's what I want to share with you. I was talking with the people who fix my cars, and they brought up something to me that made me think about it. They have a young kid that just graduated school that entered the business, their automobile business. And they said, hey, we're trying to have our son give you a call, but he's trying to do it on his own to build for his future. And I said, you guys know me. And I said, I bring my car in and you understand this. And I said, can you picture me calling you and saying, you know what, I think I'm going to do it myself this time? They would laugh so hard knowing that what is so easy to them and seems so simple to them would be so botched up by me, despite the most of my research I could do and asking people and all. And I think that's what makes the world go round, folks. I think we're each very good at what we're good at, and what we're good at is what we've been trained most on. I tell a lot of people, and I tell myself, whatever you do the most is what you're going to get best at. So I know to be careful with my time. Where I spend my time most is not on leisure activities, but it's on my professional skills, because I'm here to serve people in those financial capacities. And if I want to be best at that, that's where I have to spend most of my time. What that does is create huge voids in my life on areas that I'm not well equipped for, but could easily be. So I have a toilet that leaks at home, or whatever you call it, that I don't know, every once in a while I hear the water running. I need to replace something in it. I know that. I don't get around to it. I need to call who? I need to go out and do it myself, or I need to call a plumber. It's easier for me to do it myself, but it's smarter for me to call a plumber because it'll take me, I don't have to explain it. So it's the same thing I'm telling you and urging you at the beginning of this year as a New Year's resolution to go out and interview and assemble a qualified financial team and legal team that spend most of their time doing what you don't want to. It's not that you can't do it. It's that it would take so much of your time to go through the process and then make mistakes and then have to try to recover from those mistakes, that these professionals have had clients for years and years and years and years who have already made most of these mistakes and know how to prevent future clients from making the same mistakes. That's our advantage, folks. It's not that we're smarter than anyone else, and it's not that you can't do exactly what we could do. It's that you'd have to learn from your own mistakes, and we've learned from other people's mistakes. So we now have the opportunity to help share mistakes that others have made so that you don't repeat those same mistakes. We're also able to help you in communicating other people's successes, and so that you don't miss out on the same habits that might lead to some of those same successes for you. So that's part of why I do the show, is to help share information you might not have access to otherwise. When you build your financial team, I don't want you making mistakes like, oh, we didn't realize on our car insurance that we should have, let's say, replacement value on your car if you've bought the car within the last 2 to 5 years, and you didn't know when you added a new car under the policy, there was an endorsement available with certain companies and not available with other companies that can give you replacement cost on the car if it's totaled in an accident over the first maybe 2 to 5 years. If you don't know what questions to ask, you don't know what the right answers are, because you have your limited scope. And then when you get to a rental car and on vacation, you've heard common knowledge, oh, I can waive that coverage on the rental car company that costs $15 a day or whatever, because I already have coverage my agent told me on my own car. Well, we've seen situations where if the vehicle that you're renting is a truck to move somebody, you're getting a U-Haul truck, you're helping someone move, and you exempt their waiver, say, no, I don't want it, so I reject the waiver. That could be a colossal mistake, because your personal car insurance policy might have language in it that says a private passenger vehicle that you use in replacement of a vehicle that's on the policy is covered, and they'll extend not only liability but physical damage coverage to that replacement vehicle, which would be collision or comprehensive, fire or theft, someone steals it, but only to a private passenger vehicle, which those box trucks from U-Haul may not qualify on your policy as a private passenger vehicle. So by definition, your policy may not apply. Who knows this stuff? That's what we do all day long in this profession. But I don't know how to fix my plumbing, and I don't know how to fix my cars. I don't know how to do all those things. But I do know how to do what I get paid to do all day long. And so do the good accountants, and so do the good attorneys that you don't want to pay. But you need to, because they'll keep you out of trouble. So I want you, as a New Year's resolution, to commit and assemble a team of financial and legal professionals to help you get to where you might not be able to get to on your own. Another thing about this renting vehicles, and a lot of people don't know this, but I'm in classes all over the country. I travel even to get some of the training that I get, because I'm always starving for new information that I don't yet know. And guess what I hear? I hear at one of the courses, when you rent a vehicle, and we're all insurance agents in the room at this point, because as you know, I'm an investment professional and an insurance professional and a tax professional. So we're all in the room. I'm in the room with a bunch of insurance agents, and the instructor or moderator asks the question, how many of you recommend to your clients that if they're on vacation that they waive out of or opt out of this insurance from the rental car company because it's unnecessary. And we all raise our hands in the room. And then they say, well, watch out, because here are some cases where that would be a big mistake and you could get into trouble or get your clients into trouble. One is, what if the vehicle is in the shop for 30 days getting fixed, or totaled, or stolen? Well, the problem is your own insurance company won't typically pay for a stolen vehicle until after 30 days to see if the vehicle is replaced. If it's found. If it's not found after 30 days, the insurance company writes you a check. Well, what happens? The rental car agency can, under their contract, in many cases, put a hold on your credit card for the full value of their card, even though the amount of the rental bill might have only been for 1 or 2 days. And they're authorized to max out your card or your debit account or whatever. So you have to look at these. I never knew that. I'm in a class and they're explaining this to me and I'm saying, oh my goodness. And what the point they're making is they're saying they'll max out that card on a hold against the card to the point where your client might have been better off to just have paid the fee so they don't have any of those worries, where you think you're only at risk or on the hook for the deductible, and thinking, if I buy the rental agency's coverage, it's so I can not have to pay the deductible. Sometimes those are major consequences that could cause you problems if those things happen to you. So we're learning things all the time. Everybody's case is different. When I get to long-term care, I get questions all the time on, what do we do? My parents are going to go into a nursing home. And I say, you know what? Here's a question for you. Do they have to go into a nursing home? And they'll say, you know what? That's a good question, because we're not letting them go into a nursing home. I promised my dad or my mom I'd never put them into a nursing home. So, okay, what are you going to do? And they say, well, I'm going to watch them myself, and I'll be talking to the daughter or a son or whoever. And, well, how are you going to do that? Well, I'm just going to have to find a way, they say. And I say, well, how? Are they going to stay at their own home? Yeah, I'm going to watch them in their own home, or we'll bring mom or dad into our home. And I'll say, well, who's going to watch them all day? And they'll say, the daughter or the son. I'll say, the daughter, I thought you both were working. Well, yeah, but we gave notice. I'm going to quit my job, stay home and watch them. And I say, how are you going to pay your bills? Let's think about these things. So there are dire consequences for waiting until things happen in people's lives and then dealing with them. So the issues that I want you to assemble a financial team for are to then go through what I went through last week's show on helping plan out your life, on what are your goals and what are your risks and what are your fears. We would lay out as one of the fears in doing a comprehensive financial plan, what if I need to go into a nursing home? But a lot of people forget, what if my parents need to go into a nursing home? So I want you to think about that. Remember the old talk 15 years ago, 20 years ago, the sandwich generation? That's the generation when we're in our 50s, where we might be taking care of both our parents and our children at the same time. Well, these are problems, but you also have opportunities if you anticipate enough of your problems in advance by establishing a good financial and legal team, having your wills all done, having your living trusts all done, having your estate planning all done, having your tax returns prepared professionally, where the tax advisor is coming to you every year saying, did you know if you change this next year in your life, or change that, or do this differently, or do that differently, we could save you $500 or $1,000 or whatever it is in your tax returns, or by structuring things differently in your business, that these advantages can be attainable by you that you're missing out on right now. We get to the legal side, we get to the financial side, we get to the tax side, we get to the health insurance side. You establish a strong enough team, and you start doing what I think is efficient with money. And what I think is efficient with money is recognizing money's only a tool to help you achieve more than you could otherwise achieve with that limited resource of money and income that you now have, and help you avoid or minimize or manage more of the risks that might come in the future that you don't now have accounted for because you haven't planned in advance. It's a lot easier planning in advance than waiting for things to happen. So the process of financial planning typically is in the infancy stages of the planning itself. Almost all the problems and goals are achieved at the very entrance level, which is the planning stage. So when we go through the process of financial planning and living your lives, that's the action stage that takes the long period. But it's the planning stage which actually helps us in determining, are we going to succeed? In a number of cases, we still have a chance to succeed, or are we only going to most likely succeed if everything goes right or down this one path, and if anything goes wrong, our whole plan is derailed? It's just like if we're going on a long journey, and it's a hazardous journey through the Amazon to get to our goal. And through the journey, there are perils. It is fraught with risk, and there are lots of opportunities. We might come across gold along the way and things like that. If we were going on that hypothetical journey, would you prepare in advance? I think everyone watching and listening would say yes. And I would say, okay, what would you prepare for? And most people would say we'd prepare for what lies ahead. And in many cases, most people would say we would not try to endeavor that journey on our own without help. We would hire a guide who's done this many times before. And then you would look and typically prepare yourself with the help and guidance of that guide before the trip ever began, with the knowledge that the guide shares on, hey, here are the tools and resources you're going to need. You're going to need some money, or you won't need money. You're going to need some rope, or you won't need rope. You're going to need flashlights, knives, whatever it takes. And here's why. They'll say, there's a crevice over here. We're going to need a rope for this. We're going to need walking sticks. We're going to need a knife for cutting. We're going to need a compass. Well, by the time you get through all those things the guide says, you have a 50-pound pack on your back. You don't even have clothes or anything for all the things they made you carry the whole way along the trip, for things that might happen, but they might not happen. So what you're doing through that whole trip is carrying things, protections for things that may never happen or go wrong. But if they do, they'd be devastating unless you had these tools and resources. A tent to get you through the night, let's say, things like that for camping. So that's the same, very similar to the process of life. And what financial planning and legal planning does for you. Because what you're doing is anticipating things that could go wrong. So you're buying those protections, just like you're buying the rope and the knives and all. You're buying protection for the things that if they go wrong throughout that journey, the consequences are more minimal than they'll be without those protections. What are some examples? You die too soon. You get disabled. Your house burns down. You're in a car accident. You're in a lawsuit. All these things can go wrong. Your children get hurt. Your grandparents go into a nursing home. Your parents go into a nursing home. You lose your job due to no fault of your own. All these different things that can go wrong. And we pack your backpack with the protections to carry through the journey. And yes, they are heavy. But they're not too heavy. They're just heavy enough, because we have to balance the load of carrying the protections versus overloading you and being so heavy you can't reach your destination. So we have to try to evaluate and we have to try to compromise. What is the load? It's the premiums or what you have to buy to transfer some of what you're doing when you buy insurance. You're transferring the risk to someone else or some other firm to take on that risk from you, take it away from you, take it over from you, that if that occurrence happens for a very small portion of the overall cost of the consequence, that they'll bear the rest. So you pay an insurance premium on your home. If there's a fire, you don't think there will be. Neither does the insurance company. They know there will be a fire on somebody, but they don't know who, and it may be only 1 out of 5,000 people or 10,000 people over the length of your journey. So the premiums are what they say. If everybody who's interested in transferring this risk gives us 1% of the cost of the house, the other 99% will be able to satisfy it because so many people are coming. So is that a burdensome cost for each individual? No. It's sharing the risk. Same thing for if I'm disabled. Really, the other people are helping you cover your risk, and you're helping them cover theirs if you never have the claim. Thank goodness you want it to be you that never has to capitalize or benefit from those insurances, believe me. But you buy them or transfer a small percentage. That's why you want a financial team, to help you, empower you to make the most out of your financial resources that you could possibly reach with the limited amount of financial resources you have. In other words, we want to build a financial and legal team of professionals you're comfortable with and you trust that can give you the best information to help you accomplish the most you could do with the income and resources you have, to get more out of them than you could get out of them yourself, and help protect you against things you didn't even know to protect yourself against, but protect you against a lot of the things, but not all of the things that could happen to you along the way with the least cost possible, with the maximum benefit possible, and try to balance that plan of goals and risks. It's almost greed versus fear which drives most financial plans. And that's what I wanted the message to be on today. I want it to be on helping build a solid financial team. Commit to it, not doing it yourself. Commit to, yes, we need help, so I want to get the most qualified help possible. Yes, there will be a cost to assembling this team, utilizing the resources. But when you take an hour's time or 2 hours time from an attorney or accountant and you're asking them advice, you're getting 30 years worth of advice and other people's experiences for the cost of that 1 hour or 2 hours. It's invaluable versus you discovering it on your own and placing the all or nothing bet that if it goes wrong, you're all on your own. By paying for an hour or 2 hours time here and there when you need advice or want advice and you're all working together as a team, it has been my experience, you'll be able to relax a little more and have other people helping you make decisions, maybe better financial, legal, and tax decisions than you can make all on your own without those hours and hours and years of experiences. So that's my second week of January's message to all of you. Week number 1 was plan your lives. Week number 2 is plan and assemble your team. All right, folks, I appreciate you all tuning in to another edition of All Things Financial. We'll be back again next week.
You've been listening to All Things Financial with your friend with the answers to all financial matters, Jack Driscoll of Driscoll Insurance and Financial Services. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Sage Point Financial Incorporated, a registered broker-dealer and registered investment advisor and member FINRA and SIPC. Driscoll Insurance and Financial Services is not affiliated with Sage Point Financial, Inc. or registered as a broker, dealer, or investment advisor. You can reach Driscoll Insurance and Financial Services Incorporated at 412-833-1500, and they are located at 2738 South Park Road, Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, 15102.